Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zaks Traders Cafe for Wednesday, the 16th of April. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which has stalled near the floor of that rising trend channel that we had from the end of 2023. I suppose if you're an aggressive trader, it would actually be better risk-reward to go short with a stop-loss above yesterday's peak around the 82.57 level, rather than trying to hope that this market will keep rebounding from the 75.44 low. But at least we did get that trend line break in the RSI window, and at the moment we're waiting for the RSI to get back above neutral 50, which would then probably get this FTSE back up to the 200-day line, 83.38. Initial support, obviously the 8100 area, which is or just below yesterday's support. Moving on to the DAX, and here you can see that we've also stalled, broken a trend line and then sort of come back. I suppose it was a very steep trend line. So the main thing is here to notice that we have resistance at the 21,300 level. We need an end of day close above that to ensure that this is not just a dead cat bounce or just a sort of 50% rebound and then we're back down again. Support in the first instance near the 200-day line, near 20,000. RSI still below neutral 50, so we're not out of the danger zone in terms of selling off from this particular area. The Dow is next, and here we've got a similar situation to the other two markets that we're looking at, in the sense that we've had the rebound. We've got up to a level that we were expecting to get up to, 40,500, but now we've stalled there. Got 3-day resistance at 40,800, so an end of day close above that required to get us up to filling the gap down from the beginning of the month, 41,500. In terms of support, we're hoping that it will now be well above the 39,000 level. Moving on to Bitcoin, and here this has been recovering with the equity markets. RSI still at just above neutral 50, still near the 50-day line, and still near the floor of that rising trend channel. So 83,000, the line in the sand. Below that, we've got another risk of the 75,000 area. Above that, looking for the 90,000 zone, helped along by a rising 200-day line. So that's maybe the reason this market didn't tank further. Moving on to gold, and here everyone getting very excited and telling us what the number is on the data feed, which we can all read. I suppose the main thing here, though, is how far this market will go. And we were looking for 3,400 by the end of next month. The way things are going, we might even get that by the end of this month, which gives it a little bit of time, even with the Easter situation. Support 3160 at the moment is the favorite area, because that was the initial resistance for the beginning of this month. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with Bezant, and here news of the deal with HeLIX Resources, which I suppose frees up Bezant to focus on its other projects rather than Eureka. Here we've had a bounce off the rising 50-day line there, 0.02. I suppose rather simply we're looking at 0.03 over the next few weeks, which was the April resistance. Best case over the next couple of months, up to 0.04. But maybe let's not get too carried away, even though today the shares have delivered an unfilled gap to the upside. Haven't looked at the next stock for ages, if at all, and it is Chapel Down, which actually is looking very good indeed, and on the basis that we've got a sort of a bowl type turnaround there, saucer type turnaround. The 50-day line rising very well at the moment. Gap close buy signal as well that we had on the 8th of April. Bounce off RSI 50. In fact, everything going on here. Initial target seen as being around 50 pence, and best case scenario, maybe by the end of next month, if we get really lucky, up to 70 pence. But it looks like a very good turnaround here for Chapel Down. Moving on to Goldstone, which is continuing to recover here. Suspicions that we were going to turn around proved to be correct. We broke a right line of resistance there, and the 200-day line at 1.17. Got the 50 and 200-day lines both rising, which suggests we're going to a golden cross in the next few weeks. We also had double, triple bounces at RSI 50, so looking for 2.1 pence by the end of next month, or even sooner on this situation. Moving along to another gold stock, which is recovering or improving with the gold price, and it is actually Golden Prospects, not GPM Metals. Here you can see that we've got rising trend channel, and shares flying with a rising 50-day line, looking for up to 63 pence by the end of this month, while we're above the 50 pence level. On to Greatland, which seems to be rising every day, and therefore it gets, well, it didn't rise yesterday, but rising most days. Here we bounced off the old target there of 13 pence, but still looking for 17 pence, perhaps as soon as the end of this month. The situation really flying at the moment. On to Gear for Music, which came up with a very canny acquisition today, announcing, well, I suppose, buying a distressed asset. Here the situation is that we've got the target there at the 200-day line, £1.61. Looking for that by the end of next month, while we remain above the 50-day line and recent resistance around £1.35. So hopefully that will stay in place. The other point to note is we gapped down at the beginning of the month and gapped up after that, so it's a bear trap line reversal, which tends to be a very good signal because it means that bears have been caught out quite badly. A few murmurs around HeLIX at the moment on X, and here you can see that we've broken a line of resistance there from December and the 50-day line at 14.3 pence. Looking for 21 pence by the end of next month, or hopefully a bit sooner than that, and obviously that would also conquer the 200-day moving average at 18.5 pence. On to Jubilee, which came up with some decent chrome production figures today. Some signs, or the first sign of something to recovery here. Obviously, every rally so far has been sold into, but it looks as though we may be in a falling trend channel, and the top of that channel and the near-term target around 3.9 pence, maybe by the end of next month, giving it a bit of time. What you can see, looking closely, is that we gapped up today, and that could be the sign that finally the bears are out of the way. 4.2 pence, the best case, 3.9. Hopefully the initial target there. On Jubilee, we need to stay above the initial April support there at 3 pence on an end-of-day close basis. Saw somebody mentioning Landore yesterday, obviously hoping that it will join in the fun of all the other gold plays. Actually say that the top of the channel there is where I'm drawing it now, so up to 6.5 pence. Looking for that by the end of next month, while we're above the 200-day line there at 3.7 pence, something that should be relatively easy, given the way that both the 50 and 200-day lines are both rising now, but a gap close buy signal as well, so heading into a golden cross, and that should hopefully deliver decent upside. On to a stock which I've never looked at before, and wasn't going to look at again today or at all, but just in case something exciting is happening here at Mercia Asset Management, I've included it. Top of that broadening triangle there at 39 pence, looking at that by the end of next month, while we're above the 50-day line, and recent February-March support at 26 pence. On to the last three. The first one is Oracle Power, which is, for a change, come up with some news from Pakistan rather than Australia. Here there was a spike to the upside, but it's faded a bit. Initial target here up to 0.04, and obviously we're hoping that there won't be any fundraisers in the meantime. I think there hasn't been a fundraise since December. 0.02, and the 200-day line at 0.2 pence, the support. Moving along to Phoenix Copper, where I think the smart money is deciding that the shares are about as low as they can go. I think there was some funding news as well at 3 pence. Obviously, you wouldn't put in money at that level if you didn't think there was something decent going to happen here. Top of the channel there at 6.4 pence. End of day close above the 50-day line at 3.85 pence. The trigger for those who are maybe non-believers of that situation. Also, you see the RSI back above neutral, 50 versus 48 at the moment. Finishing off with a company I've never covered, and I don't think I've really ever heard of before either, but we've got Tialis Essential, which sounds very 21st century. Here we've got a triangle, top of the triangle there, heading for 106. Looking for that by the end of next month, while we're above recent resistance at 60 pence. You can just see the 50 and 200-day lines just crossed in the last 24 hours. And look at those strong candles. Basically, it's a step progression, one of the strongest patterns around. So up and then sideways, no pullback to any in any significant way. And as you can see there, we've only had a couple of red candles in the last couple of months. So very, very strong situation there. A bit late on that, actually. But if it's going to 106, then we're not late. finishing off with that one, and hopefully speak to you this time tomorrow.